Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Klar TV from our studio in Münster, Germany. During the past weeks, the media repeatedly reported about protests in West Africa against the Red Cross and attacks on their employees. After Ebola helpers were murdered in Guinea, the International Red Cross admonished, I quote, "Attacks like this, with their origins in frustration and fear of the disease, are not acceptable." Now voices are becoming louder from Africa, which give a totally different picture. Today we want to let two of these voices speak out. Nana Kwame, founder and director of an architecture and engineering office in Ghana, wrote about the facts from his perspective on his Facebook page. I quote Nana Kwame. "People in the Western world need to know what's happening here in West Africa. They are lying. Ebola as a virus does not exist and is not spread. The Red Cross has brought this disease to 4 specific countries for 4 specific reasons, and it is only contracted by those who receive treatments and injections from the Red Cross. That is why Liberians and Nigerians have begun kicking the Red Cross out of their countries and reporting in the news the truth." Now the reasons, I quote Nana Kwame further. Reason 1. This vaccine-implemented sickness being called Ebola was introduced into West Africa for the end goal of getting troops on the ground in Nigeria, Liberia and Sierra Leone. Get troops to Nigeria and steal the new oil reserves they have discovered. Nana Kwame continues, describing how a reason was needed to get troops into Sierra Leone, to end the strikes of the diamond mine workers by force. With something like Ebola, it is now possible to send troops in order to get at the valuable resources of both countries. The third reason, I quote, "In addition to stealing Nigerian oil and forcing Sierra Leone back to mining, troops have also been sent in to force vaccinations, deadly Ebola poison, onto those Africans who are not foolish enough to take them willingly. 3,000 troops are being sent in to make sure that this poison continues to spread, because again it is only spread through vaccination. As more and more news articles are released like the one above from Liberia informing the populace of the US lies and manipulation, more and more Africans are refusing to visit the Red Cross. Troops will force these vaccinations upon the people to ensure the visible appearance of an Ebola pandemic. In addition to this, they will protect the Red Cross from the Liberians and Nigerians who have been rightfully ejecting them from their countries." And now the fourth reason, I quote Nana Kwame. "Last but not least, the appearance of this Ebola pandemic, should Americans not catch on, will be used to scare countless millions into taking the Ebola vaccine, which in reality is the pandemic. Ask yourself if Ebola was really spread from person to person instead of controlled spread through vaccination. Then why would the CDC, that is the US Center for Disease Control, and the US government still allow flights in and out of these countries with absolutely no regulation at all? We have got to start thinking and sharing information globally, because they do not give the true perspective of the people who are living here in West Africa." This from the Facebook entry of Nana Kwame. By the way, in the USA his Facebook page was banned already 2 days after this appeared. A second counter-voice testimony is the Daily Observer, the biggest Liberian newspaper. Amongst other things, the Daily Observer reported already on January the 8th, 2014, that a man had been arrested while trying to pour formaldehyde into a community well. He admitted that he had been paid to do this and that he was not the only one. Liberian public radio stations reported that at least 10 people in one community had died after drinking water from a well. The man also claimed that several water supply companies were involved with this, especially those companies who bottled mineral water for sale. He said the poison produced first symptoms similar to those of Ebola and then killed people. The Daily Observer also claimed to be informed about people dressed as healthcare professionals bringing Ebola vaccine into communities. After the injection, symptoms similar to Ebola would become apparent. A short time later, the patients would fall into a coma and die. After 10 children died immediately following immunization in one village, the next time the vaccine peddlers showed up, they were chased out of town. So these are two counter-voices to the mainstream media out of the areas directly affected by Ebola in West Africa. Consider this and form your own opinion. We close today's program with a well-known quote from Mahatma Gandhi, also found as the title on Nana Kwame's Facebook page. First they ignore you, then they ridicule you, then they fight you, and then you win.